it's so easy, right? Just to bob your head to that song because it feels good, right? It reminds you of how everybody was together, especially all Cowboys Nation. But happy Friday to everybody. We're getting closer and closer to game day. Harvey, TGIF.
It's good, man. It was a long week. Happy to be home. It's Friday. Just go to work, man.
Let's do it, man. And then people say, how can you guys go Monday through Friday? Man, it's the Dallas Cowboys. It's America's team. There's always something going on with America's team.
It
You
is,
know what?
man.
Even after the season's over, guess what? We're gonna be going Monday through Friday. So, we've officially entered the Cowboys content creation. So we want to say thank you for first and foremost. Thank you so much for the love, the support. We see you. We see it. We see it, man. I'll tell you this. YouTube, we need you guys to step it up, man. I mean, we're not trying to call you out, but TikTok is kind of growing at a astronomical number. I don't know if you know this, guys. So, but anyways, all love. We see we see the subscription numbers have gone up also from one day to the next. We got 4
Yep.
new subscribers. Want to say thank you to that, but let's continue to grow together. Like I said, we also have the cap giveaway, right? The True Brand cap giveaway, and that will be coming down to the next game. But let's get right into it, man. I mean, um, let's talk about OBJ, right? Because for whatever reason, Troy Aikman, first let me ask you, how do you feel about Troy Aikman, Harvey? I mean, I know early nights we that was our guy, but how do you truly feel about Troy Aikman right now?
I love Troy Aikman as the Dallas Cowboys quarterback, Super Bowl winning quarterback. I really don't like Troy Aikman, the announcer, broadcaster, to be honest with you, man. I'm
That's why
being honest.
that's why we do the Cowboy cast. You know what I mean? To be honest, and I'll tell you this: it feels like Troy is probably, if not leading the pack of the Cowboy hater nation, right? So
Yeah.
it's weird, right? I mean, he has a successful broadcasting career, but anytime it comes to him, calling a game for the Dallas Cowboys, he just sets the mood all wrong for Cowboys Nation. And it's crazy because it manifests through the entire Cowboys Nation, and we start believing his nonsense. But he made some news. He came out on the ticket, right? He came out that this is where we're actually getting the actual audio clip. And they asked him about the ongoing saga with OBJ, right? Because we know right now, as we speak, I believe he had dinner with they had steaks, but he had steaks with the New York Giants, and I guess he was trying to see how he would fit in their offense. From what I heard from the New York Giants head coach, he says the steaks were good, and that's all he left it at. He was very dry about it. But obviously he started. OBJ started his career there. Obviously, I'm pretty sure that goes for any player. It almost feels good to kind of go back to where you started, right? Especially when you're trying to round out your career. But they specifically the ticket, right? That's where you can actually go and find it. The ticket actually asked Troy Aikman about OBJ potentially coming to the Cowboys. So let's go ahead and just take it to the clip. And we've been talking about OBJ Fields for like 2 weeks now, right, Harvey?
Yeah, for a while, man.
And I mean, it never gets old, but oh man,
So, hey, Jerry, before you start the clip, I just got a real quick question.
sure,
Isn't New York State have state taxes?
yes, to do. That's cold
Okay,
too,
just checking. Yeah, you can continue.
and it's super cold, and Buffalo Bills does too. Everything checks off. But let's go and go to the clip.
What do you think of the possibility of them adding Odell Beckham Jr.?
I think it happens. I mean, if I was betting, I would bet virtually everything I have on it because I've been asked a lot. Any Cowboys, when I travel around the country for various games, I get asked a lot of questions about the Cowboys. But I don't think this is hyperbole. I've never known Jerry to lose a player that he's wanted. I just haven't.
Wow, he's willing to basically virtually bet everything he has that he will be a Dallas Cowboy. So for Troy Aikman, who last year he actually made some noise, right? Because I think he was being very skeptical about OBJ and the situation with the Cleveland Browns. But obviously, we see Cleveland Browns are kind of still a little bit of a messy team, and I don't know for whatever reason. Funny things happen there in Cleveland. I don't know if you've seen that too, Harvey. Have you seen that?
Yeah, but I think at first I was like, man, it's OBJ. He's childish. He's this. Then I looked at the film and realized how many times OBJ was wide open
Wide
and
open.
never got the ball. I can understand why he was frustrated, man.
And it was unfortunate, right? Because I believe OBJ was super stoked to be with his LSU. Well, he couldn't. They consider each other brother. They're not even teammates, right? They
Yeah,
consider each other brothers. But
yeah,
I mean,
Landry.
even for Jarvis Landry to not be in that situation anymore, right? Because he's with the Saints now. That just speaks volumes. Because Jarvis Landry has always been kind of, he's always he wasn't as gifted as OBJ, but he was very talented and he was a sure-handed wide receiver. But you know, Troy Aikman did make some noise about coming into the Rams organization, but hey, we saw a different OBJ, man, and obviously he said it best. I mean, that's the one thing that we've always done about Jerry Jones, right? And I want to say something. I normally try to stay away from that, but I think that Jerry Jones doesn't get enough credit for what he's done for the NFL and for many organizations, and that's something that people need to understand. But for him to put himself on the limb and said that he's never lost anybody, I mean, doesn't that give you a little slim of hope, knowing that the last visit for OBJ is with the Dallas Cowboys on Tuesday?
That's not that's not that's not something that OBJ decided to do just because or Jerry, man, come on, man. Jerry has a plan already. He's not even worried. If he really wants OBJ, he's gonna get him.
Oh yeah,
At this point, I don't think Jerry's worried about him visiting other teams, to be honest with you. I really don't. Because either Jerry wants him and he's gonna get him, or he's like, you know what, man? I really don't want him, but depending on how much he is gonna cost, go visit whoever you want and then we'll talk. But we'll see, man. Maybe OBJ doesn't like the offer the Cowboys have given him already.
maybe, but this gives you opportunities to kind of clean it up and see if you can match what other teams are offering, right?
Yep.
Because I think right now it's Buffalo Bills, Giants, and Cowboys. It's already been shrunk down. And yesterday we saw the Bills come away with a big win over the Patriots. Of course, to me, the Patriots still need a little bit more work as far as being a cohesive team on offense. But man, that defense sure does fly around. So you know, still both teams. The Bills are probably a little bit older than the Patriots. The Patriots seemed like a younger team, so they need to get it together. And of course, bringing in a defensive coordinator to become your offensive coordinator, it's going to take some transition too. So, but Bills kind of got the win, so that kind of gives them an upper hand as far as the record. I think now the record is what, 9-3 now.
Yep.
So I will tell you this: I don't want to say a lot is riding on the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday. I think I think we've already I mean all week we've listened to Mike McCarthy, right? We listened to Dan Quinn. Yesterday we heard Dak Prescott and Kellen Moore, and Dak I think said it best yesterday, right? When he said, you know, they don't take any team, they don't take anything lightly, right? So that's always great to see that kind of stuff. But I will say we've both already expressed what Odell Beckham Jr. can do for this team. We don't need him to be savior. We don't.
Mhm.
Just give us the plays that you can do, and that's all we need, right? Because that'll help free up CeeDee Lamb, that'll help free up Michael Gallup. I mean, it gives you it really truly does give Dak Prescott 4 options instead of 3. But we've been talking also about the tight end options, the 3 tight end package set. So there's so much to be pumped about this week coming up on Sunday. But let's go ahead and look at it. I mean, we already got the Friday. Usually by Friday, you're getting the final injury report, and right now nobody from the Dallas Cowboys has been ruled out. I know that Trayvon Diggs and Michael Gallup were dealing with the illness. They actually didn't participate Wednesday. Quinn Bohanna, I think he's still up in the air. He's questionable. Also, Anthony Barr is questionable. So those are two questionables that we need to see on game day. So tune in on Sunday kickoff show. Trayvon Diggs, he said he's a full go. Michael Gallup said he's a full go. J. Ron had a shoulder injury. But even though he was limited today, he's a full go for Sunday. And then Demarcus Lawrence, of course, we've known about the foot injury. He's a full goal. Terrence Steele, obviously there's some things that we want to keep, private. I will say this. Let's just keep him in prayers. But he was a full goal in today's practice. I know he missed pretty much the earlier portion of the week, but Terrence Steele has been a great player for the Dallas Cowboys. But let's talk about the Colts right now. I mean, right out of the gate, they already have two players that have been scratched. Kenny Moore, their slot corner, and Braden Smith, the right tackle. You never really want to see a game come down to it like this, especially PFF ranked 23rd offensive line now with Braden Smith. He's probably one of the bright stars on that offensive line, along with Quentin Nelson. How do you feel about the matchup kind of going in now that we're seeing it kind of take shape as far as the injury report?
Like I felt in the beginning of the week. We're going to win this game, man. I'm telling you, we're going to win this game.
I love it.
This team I keep saying it. These guys lost to Green Bay. They know what it feels like. That's not going to happen again. With Trayvon Diggs and Micah Parsons, this is not going to happen again, man. I promise you. Not to a team like this.
So Joshua,
not to a team like this.
If he snoozes, he loses. He's referring to OBJ. If he snoozes, he loses. We've been winning without that freebie.
He said that freebie.
Hey,
I like it, Joshua.
I like it too, man. That's a great one, dude. I mean, shoot, you're absolutely right. I mean, if it wasn't for Cooper Rush, though, we wouldn't be here. So hats off to you, Cooper. Thank you so much for sticking to the script and allowing the Cowboys to be in this situation. And like you said, I think that we've already said this too. Also, I think this is the type of game that the Cowboys need, right? Is to go ahead and put in there and put their foot down, and like whoever put that laughing emoji was probably my cousin. You know what I mean? Show you that the Cowboys mean business, man. So I will tell you this: come Colts game, I'm gonna come find you, and I'm gonna make sure I'll show you the stats. All right, and we'll talk about it then. But last but not least, you mentioned some big names, and I highly encourage you guys to get your sources from verified people. Patrick with no C Walker, he's actually the voice of the Star, right? He's actually the beat writer for the Dallas Cowboys. He actually spoke with Micah Parsons and Trayvon Diggs, and he asked them. He says that what did the Cowboys learn from allowing a big day to a struggling Packers passing attack as they approach the struggling Colts passing attack? And Trayvon answered right away: anybody can lose. Anybody can. And basically it says, even though a lot of fans are worried right now about this being a trap game, Parsons and Diggs' answers seem to point to the team being aware that they can't or shouldn't be overlooking any team, including the Colts. We've talked about it. The Colts have a great defense. It's actually top 5 in not allowing rushing yards and top 10 in passing. So obviously, we know that the Colts, they have a good defense. Their problems are more on the offensive side. Mito, good to hear from you. Would you consider McCarthy a coach of the year candidate? Man, you know what? That's a great question. Nobody's even talking about that yet. You know what I mean?
They're not, right?
No, let's be ahead of the curve right here. I think at this point, I think that we've been Cowboy fans long enough, right? And if especially if you got to see the golden years, right? I don't know why I call it the golden years, but the dynasty years. How about that? That sounds better, right? dynasty years. I mean, shoot, we expect excellence. I mean, we grew into it. You know what I mean? The age of 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I mean, literally, Cowboys were going back to back. Then those pesky 49ers in 94 caught up to us, and then 95 we got the crown back, and then since then 27, this is the 27, and we're still missing a Super Bowl. We're getting, I mean, all of us are getting a little bit older, and we haven't been able to get to NFC Championship game, and that's frustrating. But with all of that said, Ram, I will say this. I'll go first, man. I think that we have to put that little feeling that we have about not getting to a championship or not getting to a Super Bowl aside, and we have to give credit where credit is due. And I'll tell you this: Mike McCarthy obviously made those adjustments that he needed with Cooper Rush to get us to this position. So yes, I think that he needs to be a strong candidate for Coach of the Year. And I think that if anything, we should be talking in presence as far as Mike McCarthy still being the coach next year. So that's my take on Mike McCarthy being a candidate for Coach of the Year.
So I'm going to answer this question by saying this. All the coaches in the NFC should be candidates. And I'll leave
Okay.
it at that. So that's a yes for me. For the
Okay.
simple fact that you cannot deny how we were last year, right? And the year before that, probably. And now these guys are just beating these teams, and the whole division might make the playoffs.
That's crazy.
It is. And you got to think, and the reason I say this, you got to think. Heineke, Carson Wentz did play, but he wasn't that good. They're playing with a backup quarterback and winning. I think they've won what, 6 of their last 7? The Commanders?
I will double check and I will
6 or 7 or 5 of the 6. Anyways, with a backup quarterback,
three
I
straight.
believe. Huh?
They have 3 straight wins.
3 straight, but they've won, I think, 6 of the last 7 because I
Right.
think they lost to the Vikings, I think. I can't remember.
I'll tell you right now.
Anyways, my point is they're playing with a backup quarterback and they're winning, and they would be making the playoffs if the playoffs started today, right?
Yes, they beat the Colts by 1 point. They actually beat the Packers also. So they beat the Packers. They beat the Packers by 2 points. They beat the Colts by 1 point. The Vikings they lost by 3. They beat the Eagles by a pretty good margin, 32-31. They beat the Texans 23-10 and the Falcons 19-13. And this week the Commanders are facing off against the Giants.
So, I mean, Daniel Jones ain't a great quarterback either. So, I mean, what? Oh, here we go. Here we go.
That's so you know. Okay. Richard Allen. He's a commander. All right. We're coming for y'all. And we're
and we don't.
waiting. It's the last game of the year, man. We're waiting.
No, but let's just be real, man. All of those coaches should be candidates for Coach of the Year
You're right, man.
because of the
Great
great
point.
job they have done that in that division. So we'll see, man. But yeah, I think he should be in consideration. So we'll see what happens with that candidate at the end of the year. Why are you smiling, Jerry? Why?
We're specifically designed to beat y'all. I'll tell you this. I felt that about the Eagles this year, man. I felt like they specifically, made this team, to make sure that they beat us. But you know what? Thanks, Josh. We appreciate the backup. No, man. No. Nah, Rich is cool, man. Rich is cool.
Yeah, man. He's a good dude.
He's gonna be a day one guy for us, for sure.
For
Just
sure.
like you, Josh. But I will say this: it's great to see it, and I see what you're going with it. I mean, you're right. Everybody from the NFC East needs to have that consideration. I mean, of all people, I think you could probably put Sirianni up there. I mean, for the longest, they were undefeated.
Yep.
They were undefeated for the longest, and I mean, I think Nick Sirianni, he coined the phrase, "How about them Eagles?" Right? So, I mean, wow, who's to know that he was going to be an original, How about them Eagles? So, but like you said, getting back on subject, I think it's a great topic. But in all seriousness, I do think that Mike McCarthy does not give enough credit because we've heard it time in, time out. I was able to talk to West Coast Cowboy, who's out of obviously people know where he's from, California, and he brought the facts. I mean, he says, "What other coach do you know has had to go through 2 seasons without having his full time starting quarterback out, completely out?" 2020 was a disaster, and it was ugly. It was ugly, and that was Mike McCarthy's first year. And then the next year, we had a good start. We had a really great start, and then that got hurt, and then things just kind of derailed itself. We had the number one scoring offense. We had number one offense, I think, across the board for the longest. And then this year, the start without Dak and the adjustments that he made to get the Cowboys to this position. I mean, what other coach out there in the NFL has had to deal with that kind of adversity? I mean, Harvey, did anybody come out right now, present moment? Has anybody had to come to deal with that kind of adversity like Mike McCarthy has?
Not really, man. I don't see any like injury for the whole year or their starting quarterback that I can remember. No, not the stuff that he's gone through. And then Dak got hurt again with his thumb, and then you got Cooper coming in. Yeah, man. I mean, you're right. I think he's the only one that comes to mind.
I think if
So
I think if anything, let's just say this year ends in disaster, right? When I say disaster, in other words, one and done, because that's disaster. Because we've already been to we've been one and done. That was last year. You know what I'm saying? It reminds me so much of the '94 freaking 49ers. That was the most annoying. 49ers were number one. 49ers and Raiders are probably two of the most annoying fan bases that the Cowboys nation has to deal with. And man, those rivalries, we have not had to deal with them in quite some time. But 49ers definitely are they're waking up a monster that they don't want to wake right now, man.
yep.
And I'll tell you this much right now: anybody that's a 49er faithful, I tell you this, you don't want to wake up that dark side that the Cowboys have, man. It's there, man. I mean, you got a team that's hungry all across the board. I mean, from the defense to the offense. The offense is more. I think if anything, the way you hear Dak talk, he talks with so much conviction. He's upset. You know what I mean? He wants to get the Cowboys. He wants that ring more than anybody. And I just say, if anything, if this year ends in disaster, one and done, I think that you're going to see a different Mike McCarthy come next year. I think if anything, Mike McCarthy, he will be involved in the play calling next year. I think that's what's going to end up happening. He's going to be more involved. What do you think?
I think at that point he'd have to change it up. He has no choice because from to this point now, as of right now, that would be his downfall, 100%. So he'd have to do it. It's not like he will do it. He has no choice. He'd have to do that. Especially him not knowing the offense is kind of weird. So I don't know, but yeah, you're right, Jerry. Like he has to do it, man. He has no choice. Um,
luckily, the
but
windows. Luckily, we're in agreement, right? Our window is open. It's way more open than many teams in the NFC. All
oh
the
yeah, especially the Commanders, because
well, I mean, the
they're
Commanders,
playing with a backup quarterback, but
they need to clean that up. I will say this: if they can clean that up and get that offense a little bit better, get going, and get their defense back healthy, yeah, the Commanders are going to be one of them teams that are going to be ranked up there, neck and neck with Eagles and Cowboys. I think the Giants. I think we saw, especially with that Thanksgiving face off against the Cowboys. You could tell the Giants are still relatively young, and they're going to be as limited because of what Daniel Jones can bring to them. Well, I'll tell you right now, with Tyler Heineke, you got a man that has nothing to lose. So with a man that has nothing to lose, then he has everything to gain. You know what I mean? So it's almost like it's touche, right? Like it's kind of crazy to think that You let him ball, and he's balling right now.
Yeah, yeah.
But I will say this: it's gonna be kind of hard though because Chase Young he's a beast, man. That guy's an animal. Look at this. Oh, we love that, Rich. Thank you for the your ceiling is higher. I'll admit that. We appreciate that, man. Like you said, the ceiling is higher, man. We've seen with the ACLs. Look at how long it's taken Michael Gallup. Like almost what Michael Gallup was activated. What week 4,
Yep, before.
and we're already week 12, and we're finally starting to see Michael Gallup kind of being able to make some nice little cuts and get back into who he was. So I'll tell you this: it's going to take Chase Young some time because he tore his ACL up too. So I think Chase Young is he really helps out, especially those defensive tackles because I mean those defensive tackles are getting swallowed up by offensive line, and there's no really threat. I mean Montez Sweat is good, but man, they it you that Commanders defense is really different with Chase Young, Montez Sweat, of course, the two very young defense tackles there. Chase is most likely not going to play this year. I thought he was, man. I thought he got activated, but I guess that's news for us, right? He's not gonna play this year. I thought he was gonna play.
So did I.
I thought he got activated too to go, but I wouldn't risk it. I mean, at this point, I wouldn't risk it. Richard, low key a Cowboys fan. Laugh a lot, just respect, but to his Commanders for facing the adversity, they should have kept Cousins. Ooh, I don't know, man.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know about Kirk Cousins. I like Tyler Heineke, man. Tyler Heineke's kind of like
Yeah, me
feisty,
too.
man. Like you said, he's a very gritty, not the dance, right? But we're talking about like the grit, right? Like you
Yeah,
know what I'm
man.
saying? Like he
Yep.
has true grit. Like Brett Favre was a very gritty type of quarterback. So
But you know what though, Jerry, that's kind of this season for whatever it is, man. The way the Commanders play, even the Giants, they're kind of I don't know, like okay on offense, but their defense is actually pretty good.
yeah,
Um, and honestly, we have the Eagles, kind of reminds you of the Reggie White and the Browns, and it just kind of
good point.
reminds me of the '90s a little bit,
It does.
like this year, doesn't it?
It does. It does have a very eerie feeling to the '90s.
It does, man. I'm like, wait a minute, this feels like the '90s, man. This whole NFC East is just monsters. Like, I don't know, man. Maybe that's a good thing for us. Maybe for all of us, we could go, Super Bowl, another NFC's next Super Bowl, then we win another one, then we win two back to back. I don't know. But that's what it feels like, man. It feels like the '90s right now. It really does. Like with these guys playing.
The dynasty years, Richard Allen. We don't want to pay 50 mil a year for a mid-tier quarterback. Oh, are you taking a shot at Dakota Prescott? Well, he's making
No,
4.
he's talking about Kirk Cousins, I think.
No, yeah, for sure, Kirk Cousins. Yeah, I know what he meant. No, he's absolutely right. I think that's been the knock on Kirk, right? Is that he can make he's more of a stat quarterback. I guess you could say, is he a stat quarterback if anything?
I don't even think he's that. I don't know why people like him.
I don't know, man. I
I
I
wouldn't
don't know.
trust Kirk Cousins to throw my food in a freaking food basket, let alone a damn football. Like, I wouldn't even let him sack my groceries. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And they want to pay him 50 million, man. I don't understand. I don't, Jerry. Like,
Well, we could see what I mean, because obviously I think he was a third rounder, number one. So let's clarify some things, right? You think he was a
was
third
he
round?
third? I thought he was second.
No, I think he was a third
No,
rounder.
you're right. Because they took
They,
Griffin the third,
RG3, yeah. They,
RG3 the third. Yeah, you're right.
and then they drafted him, I guess, as his backup. And RG3 after his knee got all mangled up, that's kind of when Kirk Cousins kind of took over, and then the whole coaching situation that happened after that. So it was real messy for the Washington organization for a while, and then now I like Ron Rivera. What do they call him? Riverboat Ron, right? I like him. Number one, I mean, only Mexican. Number one, he's probably the only Mexican out there in The only Mexican head coach I think ever, right? No, 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 no,
No,
no.
we got Flores from the Raiders.
Yeah, the Raiders had Flores. Yeah, you're right. But right now, Ron Rivera, man, if they could get the quarterback situation situated, like I'm saying for long term, I think that the Commanders are on the right path, man. Like they can be an ascending strong team in the NFC
But
East.
I like the way the NFC East is going, man. I'm telling you, we're gonna dominate. If they keep this up, we're gonna dominate. We're
I,
gonna dominate the NFL.
I think come next year, I think almost every team on the NFC East, when they face off against each other, they're gonna wait to the back end, and I think
But
there's gonna be a lot of prime
so
time.
tell me this or not, but I have a feeling that when the NFC East is good, when the NFC is good and above, like great, they got some great teams. I feel like the NFL is better, man,
Oh yeah, man.
because the AFC has had it for a little bit, and it's kind of like, it's like the AFC is kind of like that macho dude, but he's very sensitive. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah,
Like,
I
but the
see it.
NFC is like, bro, they're macho, bro, and they don't have no feelings. No, they got that grit. Like they don't care about anything. They probably drink Bush Light or one of those bushes. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, I get you. I get you.
that's just the way I feel. But I feel like when the NFC East is better, the NFL overall is better. That's just me.
No, I think you're onto something there, Harv. I mean, honestly, NFC East was up for grabs for the longest time, and you know what? The NFC East is starting to pull and say, "Hey, we're
Yeah,
the big dogs." Great point. Great point. All four of our teams have a rich history. You're absolutely right. Every single one. I mean, all. I mean, each one. We literally any anybody that follows the National Football League could probably name you a top player of any NFC East team right now. I
for
mean, off the
sure.
top of the head, they could say, Sean Taylor, boom, Commanders, you know what I mean? Or, Redskins back then, Cowboys probably get a little bit more, right? But Giants, LT, OBJ for a while, right? And then of course, Philly. I mean, I mean, Philly's
Kind of,
Philly, you know.
kind of.
Philly's Philly, Donovan McNabb, right? I guess, no, Brian Westbrook was pretty good for a while. I like Brian Westbrook, even though he would break our hearts as Cowboys nations. But getting back on what you're saying, I think, like you said, NFC East has really helped out the NFL and especially the NFC. And I'll tell you this, they've made these last four games really relevant and really must see TV, man. I tell you that much right now. So I'm really stoked. I'm excited. I mean, it's good to have, like I said, the next Colt. It's good to have the Colts, the Texans, the Jags, for the Cowboys, to really sharpen out the edges and get back as a team, and then from there, get ready for the Titans and of course the Eagles and then the Commanders to round off the year. It's by no any means is easy for the Cowboys, but I think if anybody, the Cowboys would give us a must see TV on those games, man.
So we're the most successful division in NFL history, just so everybody knows.
You looked that up right
We
now.
have the most Super Bowls as a
Woo!
division with 13.
It's my quarterback.
That's Ari, my quarterback.
Hey, that's it, man. Like, and we're the only division in the NFL.
Hey, hold on. You deserve a round of applause.
Thank you,
for
thank you.
looking at- You see what you get when you come to the Cowboy Cast. You get stats. You're getting the best of the best right now. I mean, who else is giving you these kind of facts, man? We talked about it too, right? The Cowboys are on the verge, man. I mean, literally, right now we have the Cowboys have 45 sacks on the season. Chicago Bears have the actual, as a team, right, as a defensive unit, they have the sack record at 72 sacks. So that's something to watch for, especially right now. Like we said, oh man, Braden Smith is not going to be playing. Man, it could be definitely an open season, and this could be a great opportunity. We should never be chasing the stats, but it definitely would help you to build that momentum to be, hey, we're that type of defense. You know what I mean? And I think that whenever you can compare yourself to that type of defense, then that means that you have to step up your game each and every week and never take a day off, right? Or never
Yep.
take a team lightly, right? Because all week we've heard it. Oh, Cowboys are going into a trap game. I mean, it's annoying. Like every week is a trap game. Last week was a trap game. I mean, the week before that was a trap game. I mean, it's getting a little bit out of hand, but it's great to see that Dak and Micah and Trayvon Diggs, they're all on board. They don't see any trap games. They don't take any games lightly. They're taking it serious. I love it. What do we got sort for the kickoff, Harvey?
What do you mean the kickoff? Like,
Well, stay tuned, right? Because I'm trying to get a Colts YouTuber. He's very good. He's actually I'm trying to keep it a surprise. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to bring him on to
that's
our.
why I didn't want to say anything. I was like,
I'm trying to bring him on to the actual kickoff, and we can actually have a good, healthy discourse. I would please ask for all respect. Make sure you guys show him a bunch of love, but we're trying to seal and lock in that kickoff show. It'd be a joint kind of deal, so it'd be kind of cool, right? He'll give us the facts of what the Colts have done, and we can kind of round off everything for the Dallas Cowboys. So, guys, stay tuned, man. On Sunday, we're gonna have that kickoff show. Like I said, with a special guest. I don't know. I think maybe even Kendall might show up on that one too. So it's definitely going to be one of them. It's going to be one of those kickoff shows that you have not yet seen yet if you've been a part of the other ones. That's it for us, man. It's Friday. TGIF. Enjoy it with your family. Thank you all so much for taking the time out and joining us. Hey, but you got those Nuggets today, man. The most successful division in all NFL. Remember that. Hey,
don't forget to subscribe, man. We're giving that hat away.
Yeah. True brand. Hey, we'll see you guys on